My name is Shannon Fitzpatrick. I'm an attorney at law, and I am an attorney for the students at Texas State University. I'm not one of those people who knew from the time I was a toddler that I wanted to go into law school. In fact, when I was an undergraduate, I knew two things. One, I was not going to medical school, and number two, I was not going to law school. Oh, screwed that up. I was thinking about taking a different path, but I got on a jury in Houston, and it was it was just a little car accident case, but it was very interesting. It was black versus white. This white guy pulled out of his driveway and hit a black man driving his vehicle. The white guy there were two cops that showed up, so the white guy got the white cop and the black guy got the black cop. There was a white attorney for the white guy and a black attorney for the black guy. And it was, watching this, I was really fascinated by how all this worked. And the white guy chose his attorney from a firm in Houston called Fulbright and Jaworski, which is kind of cream of the crop lawyers. But that guy was an idiot. And I looked at that, I'm listening to the arguments, and I'm saying, you know what, and he was fairly young, which means he came out of the top part of his law school, wherever that was, and he got hired by Fulbright, and he's an idiot. I can do that. The bar exam is a hoot. It's 15 hours long, and the level of stress that people go through on that is fairly horrific, but and that probably was the least pleasant part of the whole process, because it really, at the end of the day, it's not going to show who's a good lawyer and who's not a good lawyer. It's just memorizing a bunch of facts so you can belong to what kind of amounts as a good old boys club. Well, now I love working with students. They're happy to see you, that you can help them solve their problem, and you do it for whatever they paid you in their student fees. Working with students is so much fun because every year we get a new crop of ideas. There's different issues, whether it's involving renting issues, whether it's employment, whether it's starting a business, whether it's being swindled by an online company. There's all sorts of things that are constantly going on, but every year you get a new set of ideas. And I love working with students because it never gets old. There's a number of things. I think one of them is humility. If you think you can always go out, you see some very aggressive attorneys that win it all, but they leave some bodies in their wake. And I can win cases. I've won an awful lot of cases, but if you get a little too full of yourself, that can trip you up. It can do all sorts of bad things, and at the end of the day, we're here to help people. So keeping the humility, I think, is a real critical part of what you do. And you don't just practice law. If you're successful at what you do, people are going to want you to, would you serve on our museum board? Would you help us run for school board? Would you help us out with this issue? You're going to be asked to contribute to your community a lot. So you've got to be prepared to do all of these things, because at the end of the day, that's who you should be, is helping your community and paying attention to your family, because that at the end of the day is who you go home to. I think finding what interests you. So I thought I wanted to go into health law, and I didn't particularly research it a whole lot. I just knew that was a field out there and this would be fun. About halfway through law school, I realized that in Houston, out of 15,000 attorneys, 12 of them were health lawyers. Well, I need to wait for one of them to die before I could move into that position, and so that's when I shifted gears and got into appellate kind of issues. I think doing some research and finding out what is your passion, what's fun, what do you enjoy doing. You like working with animals? Then, maybe focusing on that kind of an area, and then you find a law school that has that emphasis. What clubs do they have? it's a weird thing. In law school, they call them societies, not clubs. But if you join I joined the Health Law Society. So you meet you will have attorneys who advise your group, just like they do as an undergraduate, but they will want to introduce you to other attorneys who kind of specialize in that. So that's a really good path to take. Wow, the justice system is so irrevocably in pain right now, at least in Texas. We elect judges in Texas, and I think that is terrible. 99% of the population has no freaking clue as to what a judge does, and yet they vote based on ideology / party affiliation. We have no business electing judges. Most states are horrified by that fact. How do you elect a judge? Well, somebody's got to contribute to that election campaign. Are they going to want something in return from that? That's a tough argument. I think it lends itself to corruption, and that is frightening for our judicial system. And the other part of it is mass incarceration. That's not only our justice system, and that's also impacted by the election issue. How do you get elected in Texas? You tough on crime, spitting on the sidewalk. I can felonize that. I'm tough on crime. Vote for me. That's not how we should run a railroad. Mass incarceration is damaging our state incredibly. Our prisons have a $2.5 billion budget just in 2016. They're asking for that to be kicked up next year. We spend so much money on that. We should not be complicit in that as lawyers. So both of those things, it ties in with the election of judges, and we allow our base instincts to take over when we shouldn't be doing that. We wouldn't have people spending 50 years in prison because they had a drug addiction. There's just so many flaws with that we need to get straightened out in Texas, in my opinion.